brings the bounty to the plain, through the torment, through the rains. Progress, knowledge, show no fear. Here, chosen one, here.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Underground Audience Secrets. And today we're going to be talking about Mark's locker tray and what the significance is of his locker tray as he goes into Lumen Industries. So we're going to dive deep into that today. Guys, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe button if you have not already, and let's go ahead and dive right in. One of the things I don't see a lot of people talking about is the fact that when Mark actually goes into Lumen Industries, they actually have him take his watch off or replace his watch with a different watch. So Audi Mark and Innie Mark actually have different watches. So we see this happen, but maybe upon first watch, we don't give it much thought. But you have to wonder, what is the actual reason for the watch switch just to go into the severed floor? Now, we know that they're going to be severed to go to work, but what is the actual significance, or what is the real reason that you need to swap a watch, right? If you're going into work, let's say at 8 a.m. and you're clocking out of work at 5 p.m., why does it matter what watch that you have on, assuming that the watch tells time correctly? So this is something that, again, I haven't seen a lot of people talk about, but it kind of touches on the possibility that there may be something going on with the difference in time on the severance floor and how time operates in the outside world. So we see that when Mark goes in his tray, he has a very specific watch that he wears. And then we see him take that watch off along with a couple other items and put a different watch on when he actually goes into work. So if you guys caught that, let me know in the comments as well. But I'm curious to see if there has any impact on how time is measured or how time moves on the severance floor as opposed to on the outside world. Another quick reference to that would be if you think about I believe episode 4, Woe's Hollow, maybe it was 4 or 5, but Woe's Hollow episode, we see that the Innies actually go to sleep for the first time. So when they're actually unsevered and they go back to the Audi world, how many days have passed on the outside world versus a day that has passed, at least a day that's passed on the Innie world? Because that's the only time we see Innies actually sleep. To our knowledge, Innies don't sleep, as you know, obviously their whole purpose is to work, and then everything that needs to be done outside of work can happen outside of work, outside of maybe lunch or waffle parties and things of that nature. But that's the only time we see Innie sleep. So are they sleeping a full 8 hours? Are they just napping? And is that whole Woe's Hollow area, is that a simulation where they're making it seem as though they're sleeping? I also wondered if we go back and look on the switchboard, we see those options where there's Beehive, Glasgow, and some other options. I wonder if there's any options that in the Severance chip kind of allows them to manipulate how the Innies perceive time, or even possibly how the Audis perceive time. But that's something to really think about in terms of, like, again, what is the purpose for taking the watch off and going into the seventh floor? So that's one of the first things I wanted to point out. Another interesting thing about the Mark's locker tray is actually that he puts what looks like his driver's license in the tray before he goes to the seventh floor. Now, initially, it doesn't seem like that would mean much. However, it kind of makes you think, what is the point of him not being able to have his driver's license or, possibly whatever else is in his wallet on a severed floor? Like a normal worker would be able to take their wallet into work in their workplace and it not be a huge problem. Is it the fact that they possibly could have pictures of family in the wallet is the fact that the actual driver's license ID itself might show the address, or will show the address and age of that particular person. So, for example, for Mark's Innie would know his Audi's actual age, and then therefore he'd know how old he is. And because the Innies have kind of different consciousness, maybe that would skew the way he views himself. Or maybe the Innies really don't have a real grasp of time, as you know, they obviously haven't existed longer than maybe a few years. So it kind of makes you think, why do they want all of their personal belongings, watch, driver's license, things of that nature, on the tray before they go to the server floor? Because this is obviously not a security issue. This is not, you know, them saying, hey, take these things out and put them on the tray because we don't want you to attack anyone. It's not like they have, you know, knives or pocket knives that they're trying to take into work. So it makes you really think, what is the whole purpose of them having this tray that the Lumen employees are mandated to actually use before they go to the server floor? And I believe it's because they want to have total control on how the Innies perceive the outside world in every aspect, whether that has to do with time, whether that has to do with any personal connections with family or friends that they may have on the outside world, whether that has to do with age, whether that has to do anything that's connected to them that has nothing to do with Lumen, because they want to use these Innies as essentially paid slaves, I guess, if you will, right? But the only thing that has become important to the Innies is their work. And, you know, now at this point, Mark, Innie Mark, or Mark Scout, and Haley R have developed feelings and a relationship with each other, which I don't know if Lumen had considered the possibility that people could form these strong relationships and it might affect their work productivity, or even might affect their consciousness in terms of it bleeding through on the outside world, and then being able to kind of recall people. And the reason I'm saying that is because even though if we go back to Bert and Irv, we see that Audi Irv, when he talks to Bert at that train station, it seems like for some reason he has some type of feel, some type of pull toward Bert, even though he's technically never met Bert. Audi Irv really doesn't have any type of relationship with Bert, and he knows that Bert is clearly married. So why does he have this pull, this affection towards him? It seems as if any type of deep relationship or love type feelings tend to bleed through or translate through from Audi to any versions of the characters in the show. So I just want to kind of pull that up in terms of the tray and the significance of why they need to have the tray filled with personal items before they go on the server floor, and what that might actually mean. So let me know what you guys think on kind of my thoughts on this and what I perceive to be true on this, because I do believe Lumen is trying to exert control by doing this, and those items give us an idea of what they want to prevent the Innies from being aware of. So hope you guys enjoyed this video.